All right, so let's talk about nonmetals next. Nonmetals are not as common on the periodic table as metals are. There's not as many of them, not as many different types, but they're pretty common in everyday life. Air is obviously full of nonmetals. Any of the gases that are on the periodic table are nonmetals, and a lot of the solids are as well. So this is sulfur, this is xenon gas, and this is carbon. These are three of the nonmetals that are really common that you're probably familiar with. Sulfur is what gives eggs their yellow color, make them smell bad. Hard-boiled eggs have a really strong sulfuric smell. You find it in gunpowder, you find it in fertilizers, medicines, you find it all over the place. Xenon, which is this gas, glows bluish purple when you run electric current through it. So it's actually in neon signs. Any kind of light up sign like that that's bluish or purple has probably got xenon in it. And then carbon is this one down here. Carbon is actually what makes up the graphite in the pencil you might be using. Pencil lead is not actually lead. They call it lead because it's the same color as lead. And way back in the day, they used to scribble around with lead on things. But pencils, wooden pencils, have always been made with carbon graphite. So the properties of nonmetals are basically the opposite of those of metals. They're dull, they're brittle, which means they break easily, and they're bad conductors of heat and electricity. Carbon's got a little bit of a shine to it. Sulfur is not shiny at all, and obviously the gases are not shiny, but none of the nonmetals have really any shine to speak of. They're all brittle, which means if you smash with a hammer or try to break it, they just break easily. They don't bend at all. And they're bad conductors of heat and electricity, which means that if you try to run an electric current through them, it won't go. They don't carry electricity, and they also don't carry heat. They don't transfer heat, which is really good. Carbon is used in brakes. The black part of the space shuttle, that underside, is a carbon ceramic. So the fact that they don't carry heat is a really good thing. It means that they're an insulator. Another thing is that they cannot be hammered and they cannot be stretched into wire. If you try to hit a nonmetal with a hammer, it'll either break, or if it's a gas, obviously you'll just be swinging a hammer around like an idiot. And they can't be stretched at all. They're not stretchable. It's more just like rocks or something else like that. So looking at the periodic table, nonmetals here are actually these. So starting with carbon and over. Now the stair step thing that I'm making is intentional. Those things in the stair step are metalloids, which is the next thing we're going to talk about. So from carbon over all the way down to radon, these things are all nonmetals. So carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, helium, phosphorus, silicon, chlorine, argon, selenium, bromine, krypton, iodine, xenon, and radon. Those things are all nonmetals. Those are all the nonmetals in the periodic table. So you can see, looking at this, that there's not nearly as many nonmetals as there are metals.